Welcome to the live Vertu 2025 season preview, the first campaign that sees Yorkshire with fully professional men's and women's teams united across the Yorkshire banner. One Rose, one club, one Yorkshire. And that's not the only thing that's new. Up here in the pavilion at Headingley, the creation over the winter of the Vertu studio. I'm Michael McCann, and alongside Aaron Viles, we'll be broadcasting up here for commentary on all white ball home games. On the show today, we speak to Yorkshire's new red ball captain, Johnny Bairstow, who will lead the side after promotion up into Division 1 of the Rothesay County Championship. We also hear from Yorkshire's white ball captain, David Milan, on the men's side. And for the women's team, we get all sorts of pre-season content as we look at a new era of professional cricket. Before we preview the new season, we'd like to thank Vertu for their sponsorship across 2025. The support of the automotive retailer means that we can show all non-televised home games free of charge on this live stream. So I'm delighted to say that in the Vertu studio we've got Yorkshire's new red ball captain, Johnny Bairstow, with us. Very good afternoon, Johnny. You've just had a decent morning training in the spring sunshine. It all feels pretty optimistic and exciting, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's nice to be outside. First session outside with the lads all winter. Even better when it's not raining and the sun is shining. So great to get the fellas here, and yeah, everything's gearing up nicely. And
it's a big chapter in your life, Johnny Bairstow, red ball Yorkshire captain. How does that sound? Are you still getting used to that?
Oh, it's great. It's obviously a huge honour to do it. There's the history and the heritage of the club. The people have done it before and have come before us. And look, we're just the squad at this moment in time in this year ahead that are lucky enough to take the field and represent the White Rose.
And you're someone that's played 100 tests for England. You are someone that can pass on a huge amount of knowledge to that group. Is that a leadership role you've been already getting used to out in Abu Dhabi?
Look, it was great to be out there and understanding from a different point of view as to how the guys like to operate. We've got a good bunch of lads that have been at the club for a period of time, along with a couple of new signings as well. So first and foremost, it's just letting the lads get into the way that they want to get into their work. And then if there's any conversations to be had, any tinkering bits that we can do, along with a couple of other guys that have got a wealth of experience, and that's the main bit to it.
And obviously well known for so long for your prowess behind the stumps with the gloves in hand. A lot of people like to captain from mid-on or mid-off to get that bowler's perspective. Have you had any thoughts about how you might approach that?
To start, I'm going to be keeping wicket. That's what I want to do. I think that being able to do that and bat like I have done for a period of time at Yorkshire balances the team as well nicely. So especially at the start, that's where I'm going to be positioned, because like I say, it allows us to have, whether it's an extra batter, an extra bowler, however it is, if you're able to have all-rounders in the top six, then it gives you options further down in the order.
And Yorkshire back up into Division 1 of the County Championship. Fans will remember that season 10 years ago, 2015, you had an absolute stormer as Yorkshire went on to retain the crown. Do you look back on memories like that and now have that sense of dreaming of doing that again, but it's you lifting the trophy as captain?
Oh, I mean, it would be nice, wouldn't it? You can dare to dream, and that's what they always say. But I think for the group, it's about making sure that we compete in everything that we do. Obviously the end goal, of course, you want to try and win the county championship, but there's teams that have been well established within Division 1 at the moment for a period of time. So if we're competing with those, if we're fronting up, if we're going about it in the way in which we believe is the right way, then we've got a chance, because the talent within the group, the work ethic within the group, and also with some of the guys, the experience is there. So if we can guide other players that haven't necessarily got a huge amount of experience in the right direction, but allow them to flourish, then that's our job.
And you've got Jordan Buckingham and Ben Sears, some pretty handy overseas early season bowling reinforcements. What do you expect from both of those guys?
I'm sure that they'll be coming with a lot of excitement to be playing for Yorkshire. They'll come with a bit of extra pace as well, which is always handy to have. And just overnight, look, they've done well. So all the boys are really excited for them to be getting over here, to be mucking in. It's a really good dressing room to be a part of, and I'm sure they'll have a fun and enjoyable time, along with playing some really tough cricket.
You've played under a lot of different excellent captains, both at international and at domestic level, and at franchise level as well. What does Johnny Bairstow as a leader look like and take from those different leaders?
Hopefully you take lots out of different leaders to then combine them into something that you're able to bring out onto the field. I think that first and foremost you can lead from the front with your performances and how you are within the group, so I'll be looking to try and do that. And then secondly, look, I think if you're able to, like I mentioned earlier, allow the other guys to go and flourish and play the way in which they want to play, it's important to be an open book with that, and also to not be holding anyone back, because if we're able to go out there and express the best version of yourself, then that's exactly what we want to be doing.
And half of the season comes in April and May in terms of the Rothesay County Championship, 7 of those 14 rounds. So that's a very intense block, one that you've done many times as a player. How do you prepare a team for that from a leadership group point of view?
I think it's having strength in depth. I think that's one of them. I think you're going to have periods when there's going to be some tired bodies around. There's 7 games in the first few weeks of the season, so look at the strength and depth that we've had, adding Whitey to the group from a bowling department, having the 2 overseas bowlers, I think are 2 huge assets for us. That coupled with the understanding that not everyone's going to score runs week in, week out, so there'll be people that might need an arm around the shoulder, there'll be people that are absolutely flying, so just managing those expectations. But I have no doubt that because the group are so close, they're able to do that at the right times with their relative colleagues.
And obviously in the white ball capacity you won't be captain, but I'm sure we'll be in and around the leadership with David Milan. What are your ambitions on the white ball side with Yorkshire this summer? Because there's so much cricket to enjoy across all
just
formats.
To get picked. Who knows with Mallow? Might be on the bench. We might actually be bowling a bit of off spin or something like that. So no, we'll wait and see. Yeah, of course, I'm looking forward to being a part of that T20 group, and yeah, I definitely won't be opening. He'll be opening. So no, we'll wait and see with that. But like I mentioned earlier, the talent pool that we've got at the club, I think that one of the biggest things with the white ball side is just gaining an understanding, and the ceiling is the limit, because we've seen at the start of the IPL so far the scores that have gone through the roof. We've seen at this. We want to get to another finals day. That's pretty obvious. We've still not won it. We want to be the group that wins it, and if we can get that relentlessness within the red ball stuff, that carries on into the white ball stuff, and then that can only be a good thing.
And Anthony McGrath back as coach, what has that been like? Because there would have been crossover from you as a very young tyke coming through the system and him at the back end as a player. What's he brought in terms of a change of dynamic?
Yeah, well, he gave me my debut, to be honest with you. So first of all, what a great man he is. The detail in which he goes into his preparation is meticulous, but I think the knowledge and the wealth of experience that he had, first of all playing for Yorkshire for such a long period of time, but then going away and experiencing a completely different club, a completely different culture, to bring that wealth of knowledge that he's learnt from his coaching capacity to then implement that along with his playing capacity up back at his home home club at Yorkshire is something that is only strong, because you get to know the characteristics of the individuals and what it means to play for the club that's embedded within you from a young age, and understanding that is half the battle when it comes to understanding the group.
What would you have said? You mentioned at a young age Yorkshire being embedded into you. What would the young boy playing cricket at Sesse have thought of Johnny Bairstow in the evergreen of his career, having achieved as much as you've achieved, now being back as Red Bull captain? How does that make you feel? It must make you incredibly proud.
Yeah, I mean, there's you look back all the way to your first village games when you were 7 years old or something like that, going down the local village playing with the under-9s when you were about 4'2", and then you look at the journey that everything takes with it, and they're the bits that you can look back on when your career does finish in time, and go, oh, that was a pretty cool journey, or that wasn't necessarily straightforward, but life's not straightforward, and you're going to have a lot more downs and ups in cricket. You're going to score runs a lot less time than you don't score runs, so understanding that bit, but also taking the positives out of what is hopefully going to be a great year and, like you mentioned, a huge honour.
And what's your message to the Yorkshire fans as their new Red Bull captain?
I think they'll know what the message will be. Don't be too harsh on us. No, I'm joking. The message will be just a case of everyone out there is going to be trying their heart out. There will be no stone left unturned, but not everything goes the way that we want it to go. So that's the nature of the beast when it comes to cricket. That's the nature of the beast when the weather may come in, or however we want to go about playing it. But be excited about what this summer holds, and get down and support. Bring your grandkids, your kids, whoever it may be, down and watch the guys, because there are some super exciting talents within the group.
Thanks very much for your time, Johnny, and best of luck for 2025.
Cheers. Thank you.
Vertu, official partner of Yorkshire County Cricket Club.
Yorkshire Cricket TV are pleased to have the BBC commentary feed for the Rothesay County Championship, with full highlights posted to this channel after the close of play. So make sure to subscribe and follow on our socials. Let's have a look at how 2025 shapes up. The men start with half their Rothesay County Championship season, led by Johnny Bairstow across 7 games in April and May. The women begin with 4 Metrobank One Day Cup League 2 matches and start their Vitality T20 Women's County Cup campaign in May with Derbyshire away in round 1, seeking a run to finals day on the 26th of May. Both sides start their Vitality Blast campaigns at Headingley, David Milan's team on Friday the 30th of May against Northamptonshire, then Lauren Winfield Hill's side 2 days later against Derbyshire in League 2. The men have a block of 8 fixtures until mid-June, the women have 8 fixtures aiming to reach finals day on the 26th of July. Red Bull returns for the men in late June with 2 games, followed by 6 more Vitality Blast matches in July, including the Roses match with Lancashire away on the 11th, before back-to-back Red Bull games at Scarborough. August sees both men and women in Metrobank One Day Cup action, Lauren Winfield Hill's side chasing a Division 2 semi-final spot with 5 more games, the men playing 8 matches, including hosting Lancashire at York on Tuesday the 12th of August. The men will hope to then have quarter-finals in both white ball competitions, with both finals upcoming in September, a month which also brings the Rothesay County Championship running. 3 games, ending with Durham at home on Wednesday the 24th of September. Meanwhile, the women would love to finish their season with a flourish in the Women's Metrobank League 2 final on 14th of September at Worcester. Yorkshire will be sporting completely new kit in all formats for the 2025 season. Castor will be the exclusive official kit supplier and exclusive official sportswear and apparel partner from the 2025 campaign for the men's, women's and player pathway teams. Additionally, Castor will solely provide retail and e-commerce services, taking ownership of all of Yorkshire's retail channels and club shop. Here's the kit's first outing at Photo Day a few weeks ago.
My head's just on his shoulders.
Vertu, official partner of Yorkshire County Cricket Club.
A few weeks ago, the men's team jetted off to Abu Dhabi for pre-season, competing in the Abu Dhabi County Super Cup at the Sheikh Zayed International Stadium. Yorkshire won 2 of their 3 games, beating Essex, losing to Warwickshire, but then winning against the South Asian Cricket Academy, best known as SACA. Yorkshire also had a 2-day game against Somerset to get ready for that Red Bull block of fixtures that's not far away. Let's take a look back at the best bits of the tour.
It's reiterated what a good squad we've got. We've obviously got the overseas and some other players to join us, but I think we've got real depth and quality in all positions. I think it's shown both in T20 and red ball cricket. We've got real options in all areas, and I think overall now is just really excited to start the season because you know, I think we can compete in all fronts, and I think we've a lot to look forward to.
So it's great to have alongside me in the Vertu studio, Yorkshire bowling coach Mick Lewis. Mick, it's not quite as warm as Melbourne, but how are you settling into life in Yorkshire?
Been brilliant so far. The sun's out, so I might get the guns out later on. But no, it's been brilliant so far, mate. Everyone at the club and all the players have been very welcoming, and I couldn't have asked for anything better so far. So yeah, so far so good.
And you had 3 years at Essex, so you know exactly what it's like to work under Anthony McGrath. Has it been helpful having that transition, still working under a head coach who you have that close relationship with?
Yeah, it's been good. I mean, I think the one thing about Anthony and I is, you know, we're not afraid to challenge each other, and it probably took me a while to understand that, but I think he enjoys a bit of banter, and you know, we both enjoyed different sort of ideas and perspectives on what we're trying to achieve. So, and I think the thing about that is neither one of us get aggro if we're challenging anything like that. It's good to have a healthy debate sometimes. So, and obviously John Sadler as well. He's been a brilliant addition to the club as well. So all 3 of us at the moment are getting on pretty well.
And as a bowling coach, what are the values and processes that you're trying to embed into a bowling group in terms of the philosophy of how you'd like them to play their cricket?
Well, I want them to play hard, but I also want them to enjoy themselves as well. I think sometimes we can get caught up thinking about the game too much, and they're the ones sometimes they get away from the ground, they go home and they think about cricket all the time, and they come back and the next day they're mentally disintegrated. So for me, it's about enjoying the game, but also remembering it's just a game as well. I think you've got to have that downtime. You've got to have fun away from the ground as well. So I want them to work hard and play hard, but equally important, I want them to have fun away from the ground as well. And whether that's playing golf, going out for dinner with your missus or having a few beers, that's up to you, but you need to enjoy yourself off the field as well.
Do you think there's a bit of a synergy in terms of the characteristics of people from Yorkshire and people from Melbourne where you grew up in terms of wanting to play that hard competitive cricket?
Yeah, I think there is. I mean, there's a lot of things up here working with the boys so far that I can put back to my time working in Victoria and Melbourne Renegades. There were some amazing players there, Scott Boland, James Pattinson, Peter Siddle, just to name a few. But then I look at Ben Code here, Ben Cliff, young bloke coming through, young Wade coming through, you've got George Hill and you've got Jack White as well. So I see a lot of those similarities between that sort of full bowling group, cartel as I like to call them. And they're desperate to be successful, which when you're desperate to be the best and be successful, it's always a good sign.
And speaking of Australians, you've got one for company in Jordan Buckingham for 4 games in May. He's got the likes of Babar Azam and Marnus Labuschagne out in cricket in the past. You've also got Ben Sears, the Kiwi, who's over from the second championship game onwards. Just what are they going to bring to that red ball block early season?
Yeah, I think it's important to challenge for titles and win titles. You've got to have good bowling depth. And I think that's sort of one area we looked at the moment, saying, okay, we're not quite there yet from a local point of view. If we can get 2 quality overseas players in just to help that group out, as I like to call them, a cartel. As I said before, titles can't be won in April, May, but they can be lost, especially if you have poor management bowlers. So to get those 2 guys in, for April and May for that first 7 Champion games, Jordan's obviously for the block of May, just may give us an opportunity to rest 1 or 2 of our big important players at Yorkshire, bowling wise. So if we're in a position after the first block of 7 to challenge, then we can reset and reload then.
And obviously both quick bowlers, but slightly different types of quick bowlers. Just for those that maybe haven't seen a lot of Ben and Jordan, run us through what their particular strengths are.
I think Jordan's quite skillful. He's a competitor, can swing the ball. But as I said, he's playing the Shield final at the moment for South Australia against Queensland. He's one of his greatest strengths is his competitiveness. Never say die, he'll run through a brick wall for you. And obviously Ben, I haven't worked with him before, but what I've seen from a video point of view, he's quite unorthodox with his bowling. I know, speaking to a few of the Aussie boys, Andrew McDonald especially, he said he was quite impressive against them this year in New Zealand, and he actually did scare a few blokes. So I think he's got someone who's got some pace and he's going to get some bounce as well, which could be a point of difference for us.
It's always handy to have that. It's something that not a lot of county teams have necessarily always got, particularly early season. And in preparing for that, you've been out in Abu Dhabi. What was that trip like?
Yeah, it was brilliant. It was a good time for me to get to know the players. To be fair, I didn't do a lot of coaching, but I just needed to get to know the players first and understand them and find the best way to communicate with them, and I have to earn their trust first. So for me out there, it's just about building relationships, and I think by the end of it, we're all having pretty good conversations, having a laugh, but working hard as well. So from a skills point of view, we got out what we need to get out of it. The boys all walked away feeling happy, feeling confident about themselves, and at the end of the day, it's about the players getting out what they need, and they're all happy and they're all in a good place at the moment.
And when you look at that fast bowling depth, one thing, and both on the spin department as well, Yorkshire supporters love particularly, is one of their own coming through. Are there a couple of particular names coming to mind that you could see having a bit of a breakthrough season? Yeah,
obviously, the obvious answer is obviously Code, White and George Hill. But I think young Cliffy and young Wade have got a serious future. I mean, Cliffy maybe played a couple of games last year. But his improvement, I did a bit of work with him out in Melbourne this year in February, just working on a few technical things. I think the improvement he'll show this year will be quite rapid, and I'm quite excited about watching him go about his business. And obviously Wadey, under 19s kid from England this year, bowls quite quick. Reminds me a little bit of Sean Tate. He used to bowl, 160 k's an hour. I actually spoke to Wadey. I used to watch a lot of videos of Tate, so you can see that in his action. So they're both great kids. They ask a lot of questions, and the thing is, I'm still on the said, don't be afraid to ask questions. I said, because you don't know the answers, I don't know all the answers. I said, but together in this room, I said there'll be enough people who got to get the right answers we need. So they're both been really good so far, and I'm quite excited to watch their journey over the next couple of years.
There's quite a frantic start to the season in terms of that Rothesay County Championship, in terms of the sheer amount of cricket in such a short space of time. 7 games packed in between April and towards the end of May. How do you manage that block from a bowling perspective?
I think that's why it's important you got that good bowling depth, and as I alluded to before, I think that's why we've signed 2 overseas bowlers. So all of a sudden we go from that 4, we've got 6 now, and then once you get Revis back bowling in games, he's back bowling now, it goes to 7, then when you get Mills back, it's got 8, so that means you've got 8 blokes to choose from. So if someone is lagging a little bit or feeling a bit sore, you've got the ability to push them out for a week and bring someone in that you know is going to do a job. So it's about having good bowling depth, which we're not there yet, but we're slowly getting there. I think by the end of April we'll have a good quality 8 blokes to choose from.
And Yorkshire back up into Division 1 of the Rothesay County Championship. You'll already know, and those watching at home will be already all too aware of this club's incredible history in that competition, but hasn't won that title for a decade. Is that something that's been spoken about within ambitions?
I don't think it's been outly spoken about. I think we want to come up and be as competitive as possible, and I think Anthony, John and myself will agree, if we play our best cricket, we're going to be up there. But I think it's about being consistently good in what we do. As I said, we're going to have some bad days, we're going to have some good days, but hopefully have more good days than bad. But at the end of the day, it is a game of cricket, and we want to be successful, win titles, but our main aim is to have players walk away from Yorkshire and saying that was the time of my life. That was the best part of my life, was playing for Yorkshire cricket, won titles, had the best time of my life. That's all we want.
Fantastic. And any final message for the Yorkshire fans watching at home, who I'm sure some of them attending games will get to see and chat to you at some point?
Nah, just come along, support, have fun, and let's enjoy the ride all together. Simple as that.
Fantastic.
It's going to be fun.
Thanks so much for your time, Nick Lewis. And all the best for 2025. We can't wait.
Thank you, mate. Appreciate it.
Cheers. Let's now catch up with the women's team and their pre-season preparations over in Abu Dhabi.
Yeah, it's been a really productive winter. It's been a long winter. That's why coming out here, pre-season tour, get on grass is so invaluable. It's been good. We've had quite a few players going away at certain times, so we haven't had the full squad together. But we've really focused on changing that mindset. You've seen the women's game is growing so fast now. See scores in the women's IPL and international cricket being a lot higher. So our challenge has been to change the mindset of the girls and match their games with it. So striking the ball, full back swings, balls running in and bowling quick, looking to save wickets. So we've seen that. It's about challenging it now under a bit of pressure. Again, this is why tour is so invaluable. Of getting on grass, playing some games, and putting the skills that they've worked on under pressure. First time we've all been together. And then we've got 6 academy girls with us on tour, which is great learning for them to be around, the senior players. You can see the younger girls following Lauren about, watching how she goes about business. So it's part of it. It's so good to get the young girls around. You can see the senior girls are real good leaders within the group. And what we're trying to build moving forward is we're trying to get these young Yorkshire girls in the first team, so them to come on tour and be around these and play a few games is great. I don't want to get too caught up in performances and results. We've worked a lot, worked really hard through the winter, so I really want to see the girls putting in the skills in match situations. We've got a young squad against some senior T1 teams. That there might be some ups and downs, but it's okay. And I want them just to trust the work that they've done. And if it doesn't come off to start with, it's okay. And we'll have consistent results throughout that. But again, with new team to build a team environment while we're away. So there's a number of things that we'll be working on pre-season. Watching the girls play. We have worked hard this winter to give young girls opportunities to play for Yorkshire, backing them, giving them opportunities and just watching them play.
Yeah, it's been really good. I had a good sort of 5-6 months in Australia playing for Queensland and Brisbane Heat, but to be fair, I was so keen to come back. I had, communication with Richie and a lot of the girls, and it was really making me want to be a part of it, to be fair. So yeah, really, really good winter. Nice to be outside for obviously the whole of the winter, but I'm really keen to get going with the Yorkshire crew. Yeah, it just feels like the families all come together now. The girls have been working really hard throughout the winter. The team's in great shape. But it's nice to connect as a group, obviously bring all the staff and players together. And I think you just learn so much more about individuals, both on and off the field, when you're on an away trip like this. So yeah, it's awesome that everyone's now together, and we can really kick off with our sort of pre-season preparations. I just think getting around the girls, getting to know players, getting to know some of the youngsters that I haven't sort of seen a lot of or worked a lot with, and yeah, just using it as our sort of first chapter in what we're doing, just to compete and to commit to some of the things that the girls have been working on throughout the winter. But yeah, just to get around the group and bring everyone together. And I guess it's like I say, it's sort of this first chapter of obviously this season, and then we all know the bigger picture for next year. I think just using it as a really good launch pad for next year. I think it's a great opportunity for girls, for all of us to put our hands up and play a brand of cricket that's exciting, that really stretches us. And like I say, the bigger picture for next year is, we know that when we're in Tier 1, we want to compete and we want to play some really good hard cricket. But to do that, we have to play that style and that brand of cricket in Tier 2 and really stretch what we're doing. But I think for a lot of players, it's quite a nice gradual sort of progression to next year, giving them a lot more exposure and opportunity, rather than sort of throwing them in, straight into Tier 1. So I think actually, there's huge positives to take out of being in Tier 2 for a lot of the girls. And it's just maximising that and setting real good foundations for obviously this season and then beyond.
So Claudie, how have you found pre-season tour so far?
It's been brilliant. I mean, the T20 comp, to come in with a team that's only really just started playing together, 5 days ago now, to get to the finals and end up in second place when there's other Tier 1 teams, I think everyone did particularly well, especially the academy girls stepping up, a lot of them first time ever being in a pro environment, stepping up and really making it some entertaining games.
And as you mentioned, obviously the team really got together 5 days ago. How's that been for everybody? Is it nice to have a full squad now?
Yeah, it's really, really good. I mean, a lot of the girls have been away in Oz, but it's all happened really naturally. I think we've made such a great environment that it's so easy for people to just come in and come out, and everyone gets on really well and everyone's gelled really, really quickly. And you can see that in our performances as well.
And how have you seen sort of pre-season preparations over winter translate to tour and hopefully translate to the season as well?
Yeah, I mean, we've had a lot of conversations about bravery, and I think that's one big thing that for us, taking what we've been doing over the winter and bringing it to our games, and everyone's done that. Everyone's brought their variations in bowling and trying new shots whilst batting as well. So yeah.
And as a new player to Yorkshire, how have you found the move, fitting in with the squad? Obviously we've had some girls here that have played here for a few years now, working with Rich and Brycey and that kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's been super easy. As I've said before, the most north I've ever been really is north of London. So yeah, it was a really big change for me, but everyone's made it super, super easy, and only had a little bit of stick for how posh I sound. But yeah, other than that, it's been very good.
And for yourself, obviously tomorrow you'll be captaining. We're mixing around our captains a little bit. How do you feel about that? What's your approach going to be? Are you looking forward to it?
Yeah, I mean, I love leading from the front. I think I've done it a couple of times back at my old team in the academy, so I think getting back into it would be nice. I think it's quite a good way for me to get a bit more advancement in my cricket knowledge anyway. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it, and we've got a lot of academy girls playing tomorrow as well, so I think it'll be quite good to get some of my knowledge to them and just working together.
And as for the season coming, do you have any hopes and aspirations?
I mean, it would be great to say that I want to take 100 wickets, but I think the main thing is just getting out there and actually playing, because that's something that I want to get more under my belt, is actually playing proper games. So yeah, I'm just excited to get out there.
It's so good so far. I think the girls have come together really well. Obviously a young side, so it has been a bit of a different one, like different change-ups in teams in terms of bowling and batting, but I think everyone's been together and done really well.
How have you found your role? Obviously you've been batting, you've been bowling, you've been keeping. How have you managed to juggle all of that?
No, I really enjoyed it. I think having the option to bowl has been great. I only got 2 senior spinners, so I think I can sort of help out in that area, but I've enjoyed having the gloves today, and obviously few different roles with the bat, but I enjoyed it. I've enjoyed.
And today you've captained, and you captained the other day in T20. How have you found that, and what's your captaincy style been like?
Captaincy wise, it was something that I wasn't sure that I was actually going to do, like before talk. I didn't think I'd be considered, but I really enjoyed it. It's been tough, like T20 I found it quite tough, and today in the sun in the heat with a young bowling type, it's a bit of a challenge, but the girls did really well, so I've really enjoyed it, and it's made it quite easy to play.
And in terms of sort of your pre-season preparations, how do you see those sort of translating into the actual season?
I think we speak a lot about being brave, so just everything that we've tried in the winter is just really key for us to translate it onto the pitch. So probably just a message about being brave, but going about our business, how we do in training.
And last question, hopes, ambitions for the season?
I think we want to win every game, hopefully in Tier 2, and then obviously the cup games that we've got, potentially against Tier 1 teams, just proving that we should be in that Tier 1, doing what we do best like we have done.
I've enjoyed it. It's been a great round for everyone. I've enjoyed it about doing that few definitely improvements to be had, but I think this is a good time to see it. But it's also good to see what I'm going to now.
And with a completely new squad all come together for the first time about 5-6 days ago, how's everybody found that? What's the environment like?
Oh, this environment's amazing. I think just talking to a few of the youths, like we've got 3 16-year-olds around, very young, very had not had much experience. I probably feel in the same boat as them, even if I'm 25, but definitely learning a lot from people around me, whether it be coaches, laws. The team is just very close as it is already. It's only been a few days.
Brilliant. And in terms of performances, in the last couple of games, you've had fantastic spells with the ball, and you've come in clutch with the bat twice now. How's that felt for you?
Balls felt off and on, but I think that's my main role as a off spinner in the team. I think I've put a bit of pressure on myself there, but definitely some work on spinning. But it's felt very comfortable. I think I've been lucky enough when I have gone to the square that I can have a bit of fun with it, but I've also used skills that I've worked on very hard over the winter as well.
You've also been working hard with the youngsters in the field as well. How have you sort of found being the more senior player around them and giving them a bit of advice?
Yeah, it feels a bit funny to call myself a senior player, but yeah, I think they've got great attitudes towards it. They've got their heads screwed on quite well. I don't think I could say the same for myself when I was 16. Knowing like their field when they're bowling and just their attitude in the field, if they've not done well, if they've done well, like it stays consistent. They've done great.
Brilliant. And last question from me, got any hopes or aspirations for yourself for the season?
I think for me, consistency. This is very new to me. I just want to do as well as I can and see what that takes me, really.
So it's great to be in the Vertu studio with Yorkshire's brand new white ball captain, David Milan. A very good afternoon, David. How are you feeling about the 2025 season, and one where you have a big leadership role at Yorkshire?
Yeah, really excited. Look, it's always an honour and a proud moment to be asked to captain your county, especially one as big as Yorkshire County Cricket Club. First of all, obviously extremely pleased, but 2025 is an exciting year for us. We've got a whole new look leadership, from coaching staff to director of cricket to everything off the field. So it's I guess it's a new opportunity for us to have a fresh start and have a look at what we've probably not been as good at in the last couple of years and what we have been as good at in the last couple of years, and see what we can put together to start putting more performances on the board in white ball cricket.
And we've just spoken to Johnny Bairstow, who was pretty forthright about the goal being to get to finals day and to be the first Yorkshire team to win it. I would assume that's something you share. Yeah,
100%. I think if you look back at Yorkshire's history, the fact that we haven't won a T20 blasted is not ideal. When you look at the quality of players that we've had over the years, before my time as well, they've had some fantastic players, and even the time I'm here, we've probably not been able to put it together massively. I think we've made a quarter-finals and a finals day in the 4 years that I've been part of the team. So to go one step further would be absolutely fantastic. What that looks like, we're still discussing about how we can get the best out of what we've got here. We've made some fantastic overseas signings. We've probably been a little bit short with power plays and depth. We've always been very unlucky with injuries and all happening at the wrong time. Four-day cricket really does kill the boys when they're getting to that T20 stage. So to be able to have a couple of guys that are fresh, that tick a few boxes in that sense, is going to help balance the team out a lot more. And we might lose a bit of a strength somewhere else to accommodate the bowlers and so on. But it means that we're probably a more balanced team if they're fit and playing and bowling as well as they can.
And you mentioned the overseas signings, Will O'Rourke bowling absolute rockets from New Zealand, and then Will Sutherland, who has already made his Australian one-day international debut. What can Yorkshire supporters expect from those two?
Yeah, really excited about both of them. Having depth with the ball has been something we've lacked due to all the injuries we've had. So to have two guys come in that are experienced, that are international cricketers, that know their game. O'Rourke bowling 144, 145 clicks down the hill. Well, I presume he's going to bowl down the hill because I don't think he's going to like much of bowling up the hill. So some of them might have to bowl up the hill, so he probably won't like me either. But to have two guys that can balance our team out really well, and then you put guys like Bairstow and potentially a Root and Live, he's been fantastic, and Bess and Moriarty, Jaffa, hopefully Abdul Rashid's available for some of the games. And you start looking and you go, God, there's a team coming together on paper, and how we can get the best out of those players to be able to perform consistently, because to play 14 games in a blast over 2 blocks plus finals day, it's incredibly challenging. There's a lot of moving parts, a lot of guys that, like I said before, get injured, overseas might not be available again, call-ups. So the challenge is always to put it together, but if we can get it all right, then hopefully we can play some really good cricket.
And what do you think you can take from your experience of being in so many different camps over the years into your personal leadership style?
Interesting question. I guess one of the most frustrating things I always hear when captains give things up, they say, "Oh, just do it your way," and things like that. But is it your way the right way? I think it's about trying to find what brings the best out of the players. I've played in a lot of franchises that are very micromanaged, and other teams that are go out and play and do what you want. And I guess we have the mix here where we have a lot of players that you don't need to be holding their hands much, and you've got a lot of younger players who still need the guidance. And I guess that's the challenge for Anthony McGrath and myself, to be able to find which balance works for this group of players we have, and that will change as they get more experience, or if players get moved on, or whatever the situation is. I think allowing players to not worry about the old fear of failure and what have you, but being able to go out and play the game that you want to play, and play the game that's in front of you, and play how you see the game, and to be free enough to go and do it. You're not going to get told off if you get caught long on hitting an off spinner with the spin. You're going to be encouraged to keep doing it. And I know it might be frustrating for a lot of people at home to watch and to go, oh, you're making the same mistakes, but at some point the penny drops, and at some point you start learning from those mistakes, and you hit the ball 5 yards further because you're training better and you're clear what you want to do. And bowlers are executing better when they're used to being under pressure more. So I guess it's trying to find the right way that works for this group of players. I've never worked with Anthony McGrath before, but everyone that I've ever spoken to about him. Always has so many positive things to say about his man management, how he finds the way to work with the players and get the best out of players. And I'm excited to see that side of how he goes about it and learn from that as well, because we can never stop learning. We can always add new skills to our hats and see if we can get the best out of every player that we have.
You're someone that's achieved highly impressive things at the top level with England across all three formats. What do you think you can learn and bring from that experience into you as a captain?
Yeah, I think clear, consistent messaging. I think continuity in team selections. Yes, there might be tactical ones here or there, but if you lose 2 games to suddenly change the team by 4 or 5, making 4 or 5 changes, I don't think that helps teams. I think batting guys opening and then batting them at 6 4 games later, I don't think things like that help. So actually being clear, believing that the formula, the 12 or the 13 players that are in the squad are the best 12 or 13 for that specific game, to be able to contribute and have a massive impact on that game to win those games, and to give us the options of having, whether we play 3 spinners, 2 spinners, extra batters, all-rounders. And I think that's really, really exciting for us at Yorkshire, is that we have, probably for the first time I've not been captain of Yorkshire before. The guys before did a fantastic job, but I guess their hands were a little bit tied in the sense they always had injuries, and they probably were trying to fill up teams and make teams get the 11 right with the teams, where I feel like we've got, if everyone stays fit, we've got 13, 14, 15 guys all pushing for a spot, which is really exciting in the sense that we can probably go 2 or 3 different combinations. And I think that helps massively when you're trying to plan for a tournament, because nothing ever goes to plan. You could have the best laid plans and you could lose 3 in a row off the last ball and you feel like your season's done. So let's just try to be as consistent as we can with that, pick the same players, back them and identify which players they are, which Mags will obviously have a big part in as well, with the direction that he wants the club to go, and Gav. And then you make a decision on that, and hopefully everything falls in place and we all play in good cricket at the right times. I think if we, especially the times I've been here, I guess you rely a lot on your senior players to perform, and if a couple of your senior players are having a quiet tournament, you're relying on guys that haven't yet found their feet. So if we can get our senior guys to be playing well at the time, and you can drag those younger players with and they can contribute in the way they have done at times, then it's a really exciting time for us.
Speaking of senior players, there's every possibility of having Johnny Bairstow right through a lot of those white ball games under your captaincy. He was in here joking earlier on that you're going to have him bowling off spin and not opening the batting. But on a serious note, what a player he would be to have around and working very closely with you, I'd imagine, as captain, given that he's Red Bull captain.
100%. Johnny's been around for years. I've played a hell of a lot of cricket with him. I actually spoke to him today and said, we need to sit down and work out what you're happy with. I'm not here to tell Johnny Bairstow you're going to bat at 7 and keep, and you're going to fill down here if you don't keep. And it's what's going to bring the best out of you, and what are you happy with, and where do you see the best version of yourself? Because I've played in a lot of teams where your best players are and your consistent players that have done it year in, year out, and moved left, right and centre to accommodate different gaps, whereas actually trying to find the way to get the best out of Johnny. Because if Johnny has a blinder of a T20 comp in the position that he's happy with and the mindset that he's happy with, there's every chance you're going to do exceptionally well. So trying to get the best out of those players is your key. But to have someone like Johnny, potentially Ruti, I don't know how the test and all those schedules, maybe Brookie, even though that might be a long shot considering he's had a bit of a break now, and Adil Rashid, potentially there's no test cricket for him unless he suddenly decides he is going to play test cricket, so hopefully we can see a bit of him. So you start adding these guys in with the experience that you have, and guys that have been in leadership positions, played franchise cricket around the world, and we're creating the right environment where these guys want to come in and play. You never know that they could all have a couple of good games at once and suddenly you're flying.
Sprinkling in a bit of stardust. Any final message for the Yorkshire supporters watching at home?
I guess just bear with us. I know we've been frustrating over the few years to watch. We win a game and then we get bowled out for 40 somewhere or whatever it is, but just bear with us. We have underperformed in T20 cricket here. I'm as guilty of it as anyone else. There's no finger pointing, but it's trying to get the best out of the players we have at the moment, and trying to hopefully get the support from everyone that we're trying to get to the quarter-finals, which you probably only need to win 7 or 8 games. So if you do lose 2, it doesn't mean that our tournament's finished and people get negative. But look, we do appreciate the support from everyone. We do get a tremendous support from everyone when we play here at Headingley, and if that can continue, then that can only help us.
Brilliant. Thanks for your time, David. Best of luck for 2025.
Thank you.
Once again, we thank Vertu for their continued support, helping us bring you multi-camera coverage free of charge live on Yorkshire Cricket TV. Our first live stream of the season sees Yorkshire take on Worcestershire on the men's side in the Rothesay County Championship on the 11th of April, and 8 days later I'll be joined by Aaron Viles as the women's team take on Worcestershire, also at Headingley, that one in the Metrobank One Day Cup League 2. For now though, let's all get excited for a scintillating summer coming in 2025. We'll hope you'll be along with us for the ride.